wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Looks like we're spending Christmas Day reviewing Special Attraction, the 25th episode of the 4th series, based on the stories Toby's Seaside Adventure and Bulstrode from the Railway series book, Toby Trucks and Trouble. This is another one of the episodes that was based on 2 stories from the Railway series that combined them into one. But did this one do a good job? Let's puff right in and take a look. One day, Toby the tram engine wearing a shiny new bell is sent to a seaside village to be the special attraction in the parades that they hold every year. Toby asks his driver what a special attraction does, and his driver replies that he smiles and blows whistles at everyone. Later, when he arrives at the seaside station, his driver learns from a man on the platform that there is no room for Toby in the parade. After Toby sadly returns to the junction, Percy pulls in and sees how upset he is. Before Toby can tell him why, the Fat Controller tells Percy to take care of an emergency at the harbour. Percy's driver says that it will be trouble with Bulstrode, a disagreeable barge who never stops complaining. At the harbour, Bulstrode and the trucks are arguing about who is in the wrong place. When Percy arrives, the trucks ask to be shunted into a siding so that Bulstrode can be loaded with their stone and can leave, which Percy agrees to do. But while pushing 5 loaded stone trucks, Percy accidentally pushes the trucks through a set of buffers and sends them toppling off the high wharf and into Bulstrode's hull, which nearly sinks him, much to the other trucks' amusement. After the mess is cleaned up, Percy watches as a disgraced Bulstrode is towed to a nearby beach. The workmen leave him there, telling him that he can stay for children to play in all day and at last he will be useful. When Percy returns, Toby has been able to get over his disappointment with both he and Percy exchanging their news. He tells Percy that his driver says that both of them are special attractions wherever they go. After all, a special attraction simply has to smile and blow whistles at everyone. This episode introduces us to another Christopher Audrey character, that being Bulstrode, a motorised barge who used to work at Knapford Harbour. Bulstrode was grumpy, rude, and always found something to complain about. Judging from the way he treated the trucks, he was not above bullying others for things beyond their control. Bulstrode is based on a 1920s motorised seagoing barge, and Bulstrode has quite an interesting history when it comes to his model. His original model began to deteriorate during the production of the 5th series and was subsequently damaged while being shipped to and from Canada during the production of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. The damage can be seen in certain episodes of Series 5 where he was used for set dressings. A new model of Bulstrode was built to replace the original and had different dimensions. The newer model of Bulstrode, however, never ended up being used in the TV series outside of a promotional image for No Sleep for Cranky, but it is currently on display at Drayton Manor on a beach near Bluffs Cove and wore his shot face from 2009 to early 2020. During early 2020, Bulstrode's unused happy face is fitted to his newer model, which he now wears. And even though Bulstrode only appeared in one episode for the TV series, he ended up leaving quite an impact on the fandom and the community. Since he made appearances in video games like The Great Festival Adventure, he's an attraction at Thomas Land in Japan, as well as Thomas Land at Drayton Manor, and as I mentioned earlier, being part of the Model Railway exhibition at Drayton Manor, and he's even appeared in a certain reboot of the series that we don't talk about. And his shot face was reused for some trucks a couple of times during the hit era of the show. And I love how it's established in the episode that Bulstrode doesn't like the trucks and the trucks don't like him. I really do enjoy the dialogue that they have between each other, and how the trucks talk about Bulstrode in front of his face or to other engines.
Come on, why aren't you trucks where you should be? There's no engine and we can only go where we're put, shouted the truck. You're in the wrong place, not us. Our stone is for Bulstrode. Please, put us in a siding so that we can load him up and be rid of him. Ooh, cried Bulstrode. I'm sinking. Serves you right, giggled the trucks. You were always barging in and moaning.
It's really entertaining to see the trucks have a dislike for someone other than engines. And I've seen a lot of comments by some people how this episode isn't exactly the best in the Classics series. And from one point of view I do kind of agree with them, because the 2 stories don't really match up very well for how they were adapted. I mean, the Bulstrode bit was adapted just fine, but the Toby Seaside Holiday part of the story was really shortened. In fact, I think it was the most shortened they'd ever done for one story. I do enjoy the visuals of Toby's journey to the seaside station though, and the outcome of it, how it plays quite differently to the book.
Well, if that doesn't take the biscuit, said Toby's driver. They've run out of room in the parade and don't need a special attraction after all. We've got to go home, Toby. I'm sorry, old boy.
This isn't the biggest bag over the head punch in the face I ever got.
So this is one of those adaptations that probably would have benefited if it was adapted into 2 separate episodes. The first one being based on Toby's seaside holiday, and the second part being based on Bulstrode. But at the same time I do understand why they adapted these stories into one, since they probably didn't have the budget to make all the sets and engines for Toby's seaside holiday bits. I mean, they must have spent a majority of Series 4's budget on the narrow gauge railway, and the engines. So doing one-off characters and sets for one episode wouldn't have been in the budget at that point. So I can understand why they adapted them into one whole story, but at the same time I think it would have benefited from being 2 separate episodes. And the ending conversation between Percy and Toby is kind of weird looking back at it, since both their stories don't really connect at all.
Well, we've both had some seaside surprises today, laughed Toby. But driver says that I'm a special attraction anyway, and so are you. Every time we go on our own line.
But Toby, what does that have to do with me nearly sinking a barge?
I don't know.
And with that negativity out of the way, I do really enjoy the accident that happens with Bulstrode. Having all those trucks land right on top of him nearly causing him to sink. Unlike with a lot of the scenes from this series, I do wonder how many takes they must have done to get the scene just right for that. Just how many times they had the trucks landing on top of Bulstrode before they got it right. But because there's been no Series 4 deleted scenes or outtakes released beyond the music videos and behind the scenes documentaries, then we can only take a guess at how many takes it took to get that scene right. And I think it's a lot more impactful here than it was in the Railway series. Since in the Railway series, the platform where the trucks were wasn't exactly super high, but in the TV series it's really high. So you can really see how much of an impact it had on Bulstrode when the trucks fell on him. Special Attraction isn't the best episode for the classic series, but it's nowhere near the worst either. It's just a fun slice of life episode with a little accident thrown in the middle of it. 2 stories adapted into one, which really should have been adapted into 2 separate episodes in my opinion. But I always enjoyed the episode as a kid before knowing it was based on Railway series stories. And I still enjoy it to a certain degree to this day. And even though it's not the best the classic series has to offer when you compare it to other episodes, I am still recommending it. It's a fun slice of life episode that really shouldn't be skipped. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. Merry Christmas 2024 everyone. And now that this review's out of the way, I'm going to go and eat some cold turkey sandwiches while watching the Gavin and Stacey finale. See you all tomorrow for the finale.
Straight in the eye, and I'm gonna tell him what a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is! Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?